Hey guys, welcome back to Puff It Louder, and welcome back to Steam Prison where we are hanging out with good old Pasta Man. He saved us from a robber, he's a great guy, and we are, I guess, getting introduced, finally. Well, finally for Adage, but not finally for us. We've seen him way too often. Let's just get started.
どうも、権力者もとい実質の支配者です。
Altcreed waved his hand. Being the president of a bank doesn't tell me a lot about his social status, but... Really?
ええ。ですからこうやって地区の治安を守っているんです。
He patted the pistol holster under his coat. I see.
なんてね、今のは嘘ですよ。
嘘？
ふらふらと歩いていたら、たまたまいざこざを見かけまして、脅している側の顔に見覚えがありましたので、思い切って声をかけてみました。
声をかけてみたね。嘘。
よく言われます。
Was it also a lie that you rule this district?
いいえ、それは本当です。名前も本当。治安を守っているという部分が嘘です。伝えるのが下手ですみません。
仮にエルトクリード・ヴァーレンティン本人だとして、一人で出歩くなど不用心じゃないか。
仮ではありませんし、一人でもありません。周囲には部下を控えさせておりますので、ご心配なく。
Nearby, I looked around carefully. There were a number of men hiding in the darkness and observing our exchange. I didn't notice them at all.
当然です。簡単に気づかれないように行動させていますので。
That would be crazy. Imagine running into, like, someone who saved you, finding out that they're, like, the president of the United States, and then finding out that the Secret Service is surrounding you. You'd be like, like... or, like, the president, or, like, literally, like, just, like, the prime minister of any fucking country just hanging out with you. Like, alright.
食えない男だ。
野郎には食われたくありませんね。女性なら別ですけど。ね。
Please. Altcreed took my hand and planted a kiss on the back. What's going on?
返す。
Adage inserted himself between us and handed him back the business card.
あんたのところで金を借りる予定はない。
I love this dude.
まあまあ、それは持っといてください。無料で差し上げているものですから。お会いできて嬉しかったです。このご縁、大事にしたいものです。
What? He bowed politely and turned around. Then he disappeared into the smoky streaks without turning back. Glad he was able to meet us. That doesn't sound like it was random.
さあな。
What's wrong with him anyway?
わからない。だが、なんだか疲れた。
Adage sighed and adjusted the bag over his shoulder. It looks heavy. Should I carry it?
いい。壊されるのは困る。さあ、帰るぞ。
I turned, careful to keep track of where Adage was. Liberalitas. What a strange town. I always assumed that the depths were a lawless, uncivilized land. I can't tell whether the heights or this area is more advanced. But they each go their own way.
何をしている？置いていくぞ。
Hey, wait! I left that smoky town behind me, filled with wonder at the unknown. Oh, Pasta Man. Oh, Altcreed. We left Liberalitas the way we had come, through the tunnels. We arrived back in the Sanctuary District and walked side by side. I can't see anybody, but I shouldn't drop my guard. We might run into the hounds at any moment.
なんで鼻息荒くしてるんだ？
Oh. On the world. Oh, sorry. I'm scanning the surroundings.
その必要はない。誰もいない。気配もしない。
I agree, but someone might crawl out of the woodwork.
ヒュッとか。 そういえばあんた、
Adage fell silent and looked at me. Yes?
あんた、どうしてエルト・クリードを悪党扱いしたんだっけ？
Someone I knew, Merlot, told me about him.
メルロー？
Yes, the boy in the little family I stayed with.
そうか。
He told me that Eltcreed abducts people.
なるほど。
Why are you laughing?
あんた、男勝りで頭が固くて、融通が利かなそうでいつもムスッとしてるのに、トカゲを怖がったり、子供の言うことを真に受けたりするんだなって。
Is there a problem?
別に。年を考えればそんなもんだろう。でも意外だ。もっととっつきにくいやつかと思ってた。
Adage. I wasn't sure whether to interpret that as a compliment or an insult. The impression I had of you when we first met was also rather different.
お？初めて会った時はどう思ってたんだ？
Blunt and strange. Now it was his turn to ponder his own reaction to that. But you did help me even though you didn't know me. You treated me to really nice food today. You definitely have the heart of a human being.
食事をおごれば人らしいのか？
Yes. I didn't mean it exactly like that. Don't twist my words.
いいや言う。俺は意地が悪いんだ。
I sighed and he smiled. I know that you're not a bad person, but
なんだ？
you really need to do something about your cooking.
改善する気はない。それに、料理ができないあんたよりは100倍マシだ。
You haven't tried my food, bitch. Maybe right now that's true. But you're going to eat those words once I learn how to cook.
言葉だけじゃないことを期待しておく。期待してないけど。
Wow. Which is it? You won't regret pinning your hope on me.
わかった。一応楽しみにしてやるよ。
I just punched my desk by accident. Ow. The conversation went on until we arrived back at Adage's house, which was another hour walk. We stepped inside, pleased that the trip had been uneventful since the attempted robbery in Liberalitas.
疲れた。
We entered the first room and Adage put the bag on the table. It made a heavy metallic sound. I really should have helped him carry. It was too late to regret not doing it. I watched Adage stretch his shoulders. I'll have to help you carry next time. I'm your assistant. Let me help you. I want to be given more work.
確かに草むしりだけでは見合わないな。信用できると分かったら任せる。
Trust?
ああ、そうだ。このカバンには安くないものがたくさん詰まってる。今のあんたにはまだ託せない。
Adage opened the bag, retrieving medicine and surgical tools and putting them away in the cupboards. I didn't recognize any of the tools, since I was ignorant of medical work for the most part.
あんたの気概は評価する。あとは俺を認めさせることだ。あんたを雇ってよかったと心から思わせろ。
Alright, I will.
あんた、返事はいいな。返事は。まずは草むしりの完遂だな。頑張れ。
I still have to do that?
当たり前だ。菜園がダメになったらどうする？
But there are lizards.
アダージュ君、開けてくれ！
Oh god. I know that voice. I went to the door and opened it.
重傷者だ。助けてほしい。
Oh god, Ines? Well, this is picture get, first of all, but what the fuck? Like, I had no reaction because I was in shock. Sir Ines was standing outside. The man around his shoulder was as pale as a corpse. Sir Ines!
お前はどうしてここに？いや、それどころじゃない。アダージュ君、仲間が負傷した。
治療を頼みたい。
どうして俺が。
それは、事情がありハウンズは頼れない。だから君に頼みたい。この通りだ。
無理だ。引き受けられない。
Oof. But Adage...
言っただろ。俺は助かる見込みのない人間は救わない。それだけ流血しているんだ。今生きているだけでも奇跡だ。せめて人思いに死なせてやれ。
Wow.
断る。彼は生きたいと言っていた。生きて上界へ戻るのだと。その思い踏みにじりたくない。アダージュ君、お願いだ。彼を見てくれ。
仕方ない。手は尽くそう。だが先に言っておく。
そんなことやってみないとわからないだろう。
わかるんだよ、俺には。そいつを診察台へ。ほら早く。
God, we're like looking at two different sides of a coin. Like, Adage's like, there's no fucking way. And then Ines is like, you don't know until you try. Like, they're like arguing.
わかった。安心しろ。彼は良い医者だ。きっと治してくれる。Good.
Adage stared at Serenus carrying the man. After scratching his head, he opened the cupboard.
治療の邪魔だ。イネスもあんたも外へ出てくれ。
わかった。行こう。
Serenus nudged me towards the door and we left. I turned around and looked at Adage before the door closed. He seemed conflicted and torn. I wished I could stay with him. Rip, poor guy. Will Adage be alright? I couldn't forget the expression I'd seen on his face as I left. It worried me. But if I went in again, I'd only be in the way. I had no medical skills. Some assistant I am. I shook off my doubt and frustration. Then I took a deep breath and felt calm again. Serenus must be worried for his man as well. He hadn't calmed down since leaving the medical room. He was alternating between standing in thought with his arms crossed and pacing back and forth. Eventually, he stopped and hung his head. Is the man you brought your friend, Serenus?
どういう意味だ。
Wow, okay, don't need to be so angry sounding. I was confused by the anger in his voice and fell silent. I started this conversation and now I have to finish it. You seem desperate to save him. I thought you might know him well.
仲が良くなければ心配してはいけないのか。そんなことはないはずだ。深い交流がなくとも同じ仲間。負傷していれば助けようとするのは当然だろう。違うか。
I agree. I'm sorry I asked an obvious question. He was armed. Who was able to wound him so severely?
それは。
Oh no, it was Burger, wasn't it? You can't tell me?
すまない。
No, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have asked about something that doesn't concern me.
先ほど聞きそびれたが、どうしてお前はここにいるんだ。怪我をしているようには見えないが。
I was hired as Adage's assistant.
彼の？君は医療の知識があるのか？
None at all. I help him around the house for the most part, and I pluck weeds.
そうか。何はともあれ、働き口が見つかってよかったな。
Yes, I'm glad too. Sir Ines' voice had softened, and I knew he meant it. I can't stand the hounds. It always surprises me that a good man like him is working for them. Frankly, I thought he was wasted there. We heard the door open and both turned around. As soon as Sir Ines saw Adage, he ran over.
アダージュ君、彼は。
ダメだった。
そんな。
Yikes, dude.
ああ。手は尽くしたが、無理なものは無理だった。
Adage's voice was flat and disinterested. Serenus reached out to grab him. At the last moment, he closed his fist, resting it on Adage's chest instead.
殴らなくていいのか？
ああ。悪いのは自分だ。ザクスが遠ざかるまで待たなければ、彼をもっと早く連れてこられたというのに、命令違反を咎められることを恐れた。
Knew it was
自分の責任。
Burger. I knew it.
最善を尽くしてくれたこと、感謝する。
死んだんだ。感謝などいらない。
God, poor Adage.
無茶だと分かっていた。ダメかもしれないと覚悟もしていた。だから尽くしてくれたのなら文句はない。ありがとう、アダージュ君。
I like how he kind of like drifted off a little bit. Adage nodded and went back inside. The door was left open. We understood this to mean that we should follow.
覚悟はしていたが、生きていて欲しかった。
The wind in the night drowned out the rest of what Sir Ines said. Inside, Adage was standing near one of the walls. The man was no longer breathing. He was wrapped in a blood-stained blanket. I wondered if Adage had really done all he could. Surgical implements were scattered on the medical table and on the floor. Adage's clothes were smeared in blood. How can you say that you don't know if he did all that he could if he's covered in the dude's blood? Like, alright. Sir Ines closed the door carefully. Adage picked up a sheet of paper from one of the other tables.
死因は死傷による失血死。具体的な場所は見ればわかるだろう。傷の状態を見る限り、加害者にためらいや罪悪感などは一切ない。ひどいものだ。
Who would do this?
遺体の処理はどうしたらいい？
Ines is just like burger.
通常任務中に死亡した場合、上階の家族に通知が行く。そこで遺体を引き取るか否か決められるが、大抵の場合は引き取りが拒否される。ハウンズになった時点で見限られるからな。
Sir Ines looked at the man, as if asking himself whether this family would be different.
家族に必ず帰ると言ってきたそうだ。遺体は引き取られるだろうか。
Rip.
そんなこと俺が知るはずないだろう。時間が経てば経つほど腐敗していくんだ。どうするかさっさと決めてくれ。
Adage, please try to be more civil.
いやいい。彼の言うことはもっともだ。今夜はここに置いてくれないか。朝に部下をよこす。
わかった。家の隣の小屋、安置所に置いておく。
Yikes.
世話になったら尽力感謝する。
Sir Ines. Nobody could resurrect the dead, but... Adage, did you really have to be so unfriendly to him?
言い方なんてどうでもいいだろう。どんな言い訳をしたってこいつは生き返らない。回りくどく言ったところで時間の無駄だ。
I can see why he's a clean freak. If you're always working with like blood and stuff, you always want to kind of be on the clean side. Waste time. Uh-huh. He was a doctor. Dealing with death was a normal part of his work. Perhaps that's why it didn't affect him the way it did me. Besides, I can't blame him. He had gone out of his way to try and save a life he couldn't save. He had done all that he could have for Sir Ines. He probably feels guilty, like he did when he hired me. Adage folded the paper, put it on the table, and rolled up his sleeve. From a drawer, he retrieved a rough spun piece of cloth and nudged it under the corpse. Do you dispose of corpses as well if you can't treat them?
放置すれば新たな病原となるだけだ。保護地区はどうでもいいが、ここは清潔に保たれなければいけない。
That makes sense.
あんたにできることはない。先に寝てろ。
Do you want me to help you carry it? Adage. Good work, good night, or... Oh, Jesus, I will help you. guess good work, right? If he's really against it, right? I don't know. Good work. Okay, I guess that's what he wanted. Adage looks tired. I was hoping there might be something I could help with, but it looks like I was only in the way. I understand. Good night. And good work, Adage.
ああ、あんたもな。
I didn't do any work. I'm not tired either, as you can see.
あれだけ歩いたんだ。疲労してないはずないだろう。さっさと寝ろ。
Oh god,
Yofuka
yeah.
はするなよ。
He literally carried this huge heavy bag for like 3 hours, and then this happened, and he's just like exhausted. Oh no. Well, we're gonna stop here. Next episode, maybe we won't cry forever. Like, maybe people will live instead of die. Ugh.